So Superman goes red level and teams up with Doomsday, but honestly, this is just the beginning of it. Now, all this here is coming out of Superman issues number 20, 21, and 22, written by Joshua Williamson. Now, we'll mainly focus here on issue 22, but we gotta kind of give you a little bit of a backstory to let you know what led up until this point. Now, Doomsday has escaped hell, and in the middle of the fight, Doomsday from the future shows up to talk to Superman, and he says, "My creator called me the Ultimate, designed to be a weapon, a destroyer, the end of all things. For hundreds of thousands of years, I moved from world to world and ravaged them until I was killed. With each death, I would evolve and change, never to be defeated the same way twice. Eventually, I came to your world, where I met my end again. There, I was given a new name, Doomsday, but the future knows me as Time Trapper." So then Doomsday continues. He's like, "I have faced the best and worst of time and space. Many efforts have been made to stop me. We're both survivors, Superman. You were created out of sacrifice and kindness, while I was created out of selfishness and cruelty. I am entropy. You are life. As time goes on, we are forever. Many deaths and rebirths over millions of years have given me gifts beyond my creator's vision. It took the combined powers of the Legion of Infinite Worlds to kill me the last time. But since then, I have been unable to evolve. I believe if I were to die again, I would be reborn into a true god. Then I could break a cycle and rule over all eternity instead of being destined to destroy it. So I ask you to make the ultimate sacrifice again and help me achieve the next step of my evolution." So then Superman replies, he's like, "Listen, all of history at your disposal. Why come here?" So then Doomsday answers, he's like, "As I said, time and space are in flux. It appears I have arrived a bit early. You still have your right eye," meaning Zod has not returned. "But I remember this moment in history, my old self's arrival, the horror that comes next, the lives lost. You will be tested in ways you have never been tested before. You will survive, as you always do. The rest of your allies are not so lucky." So then Superman fires back. He's like, "I don't care who you are. No one threatens my friends." So he charges at Doomsday, but Doomsday, he catches him by the neck and almost pleading with him, he says, "Please, I may be evolved, but I am not above physical violence." And he just tosses Superman so hard that he destroys whatever road that was. And then Doomsday leaves him with these last words. He's like, "Listen, Superman, when we meet again, you will choose to help me, or you will watch everyone you love perish. To show you that a better future involves us working together." So at this point, right, Superman is pissed. So he charges back into battle gear and he lands a mega punch on the Doomsday of the current time. And then he notices something. He's like, "Yo, those flames on Doomsday, they're not normal. It's hellfire." So Lois, she asks if that punch took out Doomsday, and Superman says, "No, this was like just round one." So Superwoman deals with the Doomshounds while others work on evacuation and then try to enact countermeasures. Now, a quick note here, Superwoman is currently Lois Lane due to the aftermath of the Absolute Power event, where she ended up getting General Zod's powers. Now, based on what Doomsday said earlier, we know that Zod is coming back because he hasn't come back as of yet, and Superman still has his right eye, so we know that that's about to happen. So basically, Lois's powers right now are temporary, right? So Lois, she tries to help Superman as best as she can, but she's still new to these powers thing, right? And she can't quite evade Doomsday's moves yet. So Superman is like, "Don't touch my woman," and starts going heavy on Doomsday. But Superman is not alone, because the Superman Corps, they arrive, deploying their team, with Parasite jumping out. He's like, "Doomsday delight," and then he's like, "Incoming Superman." So Parasite, he jumps on Doomsday's back, but Superman warns him. He's like, "You can't kill Doomsday, because if you do, he'll just come back stronger than before." Now Parasite, he's absorbing all that power, and he says, he's like, "I've never had anything like this before. It's like a bottomless buffet." So Superman tries to stop him, to tell him like, "Yo, Parasite, that is enough." But before he can, Doomsday picks Parasite up and rips him apart. And the look on Superman and Mercy's face just says it all. And this right here is what causes Superman to go into a rage. And dude just starts pounding on Doomsday, spiking his red energy levels. And so then Mercy tries to calm him, but it is way too late for that. And he goes berserk and basically like seemingly kills Doomsday. But then Lois intervenes. She's like, Superman, it's over. And thankfully it didn't get any worse because Superman's like, all right, I'm okay. So then the Superman Corps, they take Doomsday and lock him up, or it's probably better said like contain him, right? But this sets up the next round of problems because back on this planet called Calaton, we see a leader sensing what's going on here with Doomsday being on Earth, now contained by the Superman Corps. And he says, the ultimate has returned. We have waited long enough. It is time for our revenge, no matter the cost. So then later on, after Superman's been training with Lois to get her caught up with like her new powers, takes her on a little bit of a romantic training session, if you will. Now they get a signal of something going down in Metropolis. Now Kara, Supergirl, she rushes there as well. And when they arrive, they see hordes of ships that one of the ships then says, humans of Earth, you harbor the destroyer of worlds, the ultimate weapon you call Doomsday. We are made up of the last survivors of his execution of our worlds. We are the aftermath. This is my people's funeral garb. We wear it now because Doomsday has turned us into living death. You have exactly 1 hour to turn Doomsday over to us, or we will grant you the same mercy that monster granted our people, and we will kill everyone on your world. So when Superman and Lois approach the ship, the voice speaks again, we come in peace. And then Lois retorts, she's like, you could have fooled me because threatening to destroy our world if we don't turn over Doomsday is a funny way of being peaceful. So he acknowledges it. He's like, all right, you're correct on that one. This is your home and we were less than diplomatic, but follow me so we can speak in private. Now inside the ship, the man says, I promise you we are on the same side, Superman. We have a common enemy here, Doomsday. Now while they're inside, Superman and Lois realize that this guy has no heartbeat because neither of them can hear it. So then he continues on. He's like, that monster has taken from us both. So then Superman says, he's like, I saw what happened to your world, Calaton. And then the man responds back. He's like, you remember us? I am honored. Now what he's referring to here is what happened in Superman / Doomsday Hunter / Prey story here, where we saw an entire fleet that was made up of Doomsday's victims here from Calaton, which was originally led by Radiant. So the man goes on and continues and says, he's like, my ancestors were slaughtered by Doomsday. The last of my line died in your arms. So Superman says that he promised Radiant that he'd stop Doomsday, and as he has, and how he has done that. So then the man replies, he's like, for now, I know the killer of worlds is here and you hold him. Let us unburden you. So then Lois chimes in and she's like, isn't this what we talked about? Finding a way to take care of Doomsday? Like he's saying that to Superman. And then the man says, listen to your queen, Superman. You and I both know it's only a matter of time before that killer escapes and continues his murderous rampage. Can you live like that, knowing a force of death is always near? You may be able to contain him, but you'll always wonder, what if he gets free? You will live in fear forever. So then Superman asks a question. He's like, and you think you can handle that life? So then he responds back. He's like, unlike you, we have nothing to lose because Doomsday took our lives from us. Now he said it while screaming. I didn't want to say it while screaming. So he like momentarily, clearly, as you can see here, like reliving this trauma. So then he apologizes and was like, listen, sometimes I let my passion get the better of myself. So then he continues on. He's like, think on this, right? The aftermath is made up of hundreds of survivors from Doomsday attacks. If you do not heed my demands, the onslaught my army will rain on your world will be unlike anything you've ever seen. We know of your power, but the destruction wrought by our duel will be cataclysmic. You may fight me and my army, but can you save everyone? Is even one life worth Doomsday's? Who must take the ultimate sacrifice because of your choice today? And you know Superman, right? he don't like when you threaten Metropolis and threaten his allies. So he responds back, he's like, I think about it every day. What worries me is Doomsday was created to be a weapon, but I never learned for what. Why did someone need a weapon like Doomsday? Which is a really good question, right? So the man says, give me what I ask and you'll never have to worry about that monster again. Live the rest of your life in peace. But for Superman, living in peace, that's not really his style, right? So Superman replies back, he's like, you can't kill him. He'll only be reborn and evolve stronger than before. What will you do with him? And this right here is where it gets interesting, because the man answered, he's like, we have our ways. He will be put to good use, which perks up Lois's ears because she's like, there it is. You just gave yourself away. Then he tries to insult her. He's like, perhaps our conversation is above your human mind. But Superman backs Lois up and he's like, listen, my queen, she totally gets it. But go ahead, Superman. So then Lois, she continues saying, she's like, I've interviewed royal families that date back centuries. I've interviewed hardened criminals on death row. The crucial piece I always uncover is what they don't tell me. And you are not telling us a lot. So then finally the man says, okay, are you going to give me Doomsday or not? Because if you don't, must I destroy everything you hold there? So then Superman replies, he's like, you can threaten me and I can handle it, but you don't get to threaten Metropolis or my people or my world. So the man stands up. He's like, I hope it wouldn't have to come to this, Superman. And then we can see like this blue whitish light flare starting to emerge from his eyes. And he continues on. He's like, I believed we could be different, that we did not need violence. And then that light starts to eliminate off of him and through him. And then Lois is worried because apparently his people killed Doomsday before. So she's like, ah, shoot, we about to be in this now. And then the guy, his body basically becomes radiant, right? And he says, Doomsday is coming with us. Hundreds gave their lives for Radiant to be reborn, and their sacrifice will not be in vain. Aftermath, hear my call. It is time. So then his army emerges to start going after Superman and Superwoman. But then Superwoman, she's like, I didn't expect that Radiant would just fly away like that. But then Superman's like, he didn't just fly away. He's going after Doomsday. So Lois calls out to Supergirl and she lets her know, she's like, things went exactly as we predicted. It's time to rock and roll. So when we pan back over here to Supergirl, who acknowledges Superwoman's orders, she's like, okay, I heard you loud and clear. She calls the Superman Corps and lets them know that we need to get Doomsday out of Metropolis and into hiding now. So she reaches out to Lena, asking, she's like, how's that mobile stasis unit coming? So then Lena says, we need to make sure that he stays under the Black Mercy venom. It's not going to work a second time if we lose that connection. Meanwhile, Lex Luthor, still with no memories, wishes that he could help. So then Mercy calls him Lexi. And then Lena is like, hold on, like Lexi, like what's going on with you two, right? So then Lena, she's like, it's too bad that you don't have your memories, Dad. I bet you know how exactly to deal with Doomsday. And then all of Mercy's tests, as she continues on, says that Lex's memories are totally gone, like he had his hard drive erased, but that there could be traces left in his trash. It's just that my dad would need to find them or would want to find them. So then Lex says, he's like, I know, honey, but I don't think I. And like right in mid-sentence, he has a flashback of him and Brainiac. And then suddenly it's like, boom, he got it. He's like, I know what to do, but I need your help. So he tells Supergirl, he's like, can you pick up Doomsday's containment unit? And she's like, I got this. Then he tells Mercy, he's like, I need access to one of the old LexCorp labs. And she's like, you got it, Lexi. Once again, Lexi. But then he reiterates, he's like, first and foremost, Doomsday cannot get free whatsoever. But unfortunately, guys, Radiant, this dude was already in that facility and he was like, I will have my revenge. That monster destroyed my world. And I'm not gonna lie to you, he looks pretty good. But what's getting me here, that he has a lot of like Dr. Manhattan vibes, you know what I'm saying? So then Supergirl tries to confront him, but Radiant basically shrugs her off. And then Mercy tries to catch her. And then Radiant says, he's like, finally, the ultimate will pay for its sins. Superman charges in, he's like, Radiant, don't do it. But then Radiant's like, I warned you, bro. What happened next? This is on you, bro. And Radiant is like, there's no peace as long as Doomsday lives. So he breaks the containment chamber that Doomsday is in. And Superman is screaming no as Doomsday is set free. And you can see on Superman's face that like his red levels, they're starting to rise again, y'all. And everyone is like, we gotta find Doomsday. So Superwoman says that they need to contain contain Radiant's army and keep Metropolis safe. But the reality is that it's going to be a numbers game quick. So people are asking it like, yo, okay, well, what about Superman? Like, where is Superman? So then Lois notes, she's like, he went to stop Radiant, but then an explosion happened. So Mercy explains that Radiant freed Doomsday and Superman's red levels are off the charts. Something must have made him really angry. And then boom, that's when we see Doomsday and Superman teaming up against the Aftermath and against Radiant. And it's wild to even think about, in all honesty. Meanwhile, Jimmy Olsen tries to get a picture of Superwoman because no one's gotten a good shot of her yet. And Silver Banshee, she's the one that's taken Jimmy up into the sky to snag a picture. Talk about like risking your life for a photo, right? And then Superwoman knows that she can calm Superman down, but then Mercy's like, maybe it's best that we let him handle that massive killer alien armada first. But then Radiant, he ups the stakes. He's like, Superman, I warned you, one life. And he then points an energy blast here directly at Jimmy. And we see Lois yelling, no, as it like just hits the camera lens. But then in that moment, everything freezes. And Lois is like, what just happened? And then we hear a voice, Superman could have prevented all of this. And this is truly just the beginning of the dark times. Your husband was unwilling to do what I asked. Are you Lois Lane? Can you do what is needed to save Superman's future? And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I feel like Lois is about to screw this all up. Listen, so what do you think about this story so far? Let me know down below in the comments. I really feel like Superwoman might mess everything up. I'm gonna keep it 100% with you. Also, note how Radiant said, I don't want to kill him and I want to use him. Then suddenly looks like he's almost like changing his mind and kind of wants to kill Doomsday. I would just leave it alone. Anyways, guys, if you can do us a favor here and leave a like on this video for the YouTube algorithm. If you can also subscribe to the channel if you are brand new here. Also, if you've been watching our videos for a while, we would love your support. We recently created a Patreon here. So if you enjoy our content and have the means, please consider supporting us here on our Patreon. Also, there's additional perks that you can get on there as well. This would really help us to continue to create good content for you. We appreciate you watching. And as always, thank you so much for kicking it with Keepin' It Comic. Bye.